Hello, and welcome, Mycle Cargo owner. I guess, like me, you're pretty disappointed right now because for some reason or another, you need to take the back wheel off your bike. You've probably either got a puncture or you've got a broken spoke. In my case, it's a broken spoke. Not to worry, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's not too hard, but let's get cracking. The first thing we'll be doing is flipping the bike over. So before we do that, we need to make sure, firstly, it's as light as possible. So we're going to take everything out of the basket. I've got a lock here. We're going to take off the battery. Also, anything which is on the handlebars, which could get damaged, I'm going to loosen and flip upside down like this, or remove. So in particular, this control unit, I do not want that to get broken because that's probably £100 to replace. So I'll be loosening that off, flip everything so nothing will get damaged, and make it as light as possible. To flip the bike by yourself, what I do is I lay it down on the floor first, then pick it up again, because it's damn heavy. Here we go. Now, the first time you ever do this, this cable tie and this cable tie will need to be cut. I've replaced my cable ties with reusable ones because I do this with some kind of frequency. So you can just have to cut these yourself. And then this big electrical connection here, you'll need to disconnect this. This is what joins to the rear wheel to power it. So this just pulls apart. Just like that. The next thing to do, on the braking side of the bike, not the gear side, there's one Allen bolt which is above the axle, or below from this orientation. You just need to remove that. Next, we need to undo the axle nuts. I believe these are slightly different size to each other. To access the one on the drive side, you just need to pull back this rubber cover. These just need to be loosened. They don't need to be completely removed. Once both of the nuts have been loosened off a few millimeters, give a yank back on the mech and it should pull out. There we go, the wheel's off. One thing to pay attention to are there are a couple of cables which go next to the base plate for the kickstand. Over time, your kickstand can get bent and create a gap between the frame and the kickstand mounting plate. And then your cables can go underneath. You can see this one has got some gaffer tape wrapped around it because this one ended up between the two and getting pinched and started to get cut through. Thankfully, the wires themselves were not cut through, so these are just held together with gaffer tape. But I've added on a little bit of extra cable ties to keep that well away, so if it does get bent again, the cables won't go underneath. I've also gone and added an aluminium plate to the bottom to help strengthen it a bit and not be quite so bendy. One other bit of advice I'm going to give is that if you're experiencing a lot of punches, or in fact even if you're not experiencing a lot of punches, fill your tubes up with it. Put in an appropriate amount of tube slime. That the tube slime just seals up any punctures straight away. You're very unlikely to get a pinch flat on one of these wheels. I think since I've put the tube slime in, I've never had a puncture since. Works very well. Right, I've finished my repair. I'm not going to go into how to replace spokes or how to do a puncture repair, because other people do much better videos than I could on those subjects. Let's get this wheel back on again. One thing to note, there's some little sort of slotted washers on the wheel, which make sure it can only go in one way. Although it is possible to put it in backwards. What you need to do is make sure that the cable comes out pointing towards the front of the bike, and have the slot kind of lined up ready. So that's going to be vertical to go into the slot there. You also need to be careful to slot in the disc in between the disc brake pads, and this bit can be tricky as well. I'm going to lift up the chain, stick it in there. It's in. All right, I'm just doing a close-up here just so you can see. So this is the bit of the washer with the tab, so that needs to be pointing upwards here. And on the drive side, it's very difficult to see that. You can see it's pointing upwards if your bike's upside down here. And you can see the cable is kind of pointing this way. It's just going to go down, round, back over here again. Right, so for the rest of it is kind of just the reverse of how you took it to bits. Go and put that bolt back in there. Reconnect that cable, just pushes together. You'll see two little black arrows, which shows they should line up on each other. Have a quick check to make sure the cable is not getting trapped at all. Cable tie it back into place. Fasten up the bolts, the nuts rather, using the spanner that you bring with your toolbox, not a big spanner, because you don't want to make them too tight, because obviously if you want to fix this when you're out on the street one day and this is all you've got, you will not be pleased you've tightened it with a big spanner. Good luck. Bye.